Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad that you joined us this morning. We're going to stand up and we're going to sing a few worship songs before we have our lesson. First one is My God is So Big.
My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. In the beginning, God made everything. God simply spoke and the world came to be. He sent a flood and made everything new. He parted the sea, let his people walk through. He built a void, bring a giant right down. Joshua marks the walls fell to the ground. These acts of power are worthy of praise. But if you want to question my God and his ways, I want you with me. I say, my God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. Though we are sinners, he still gave us worth. God sent his son to live here on the earth. He healed the sick, he made blind men see. He let the lame walk and he set the free. He died on a cross and he rose from the grave. He conquered sin, he is mighty to save. He went to heaven and he's coming back. God's word is true, but if it's attacked, I'll look you in the eye and say, my God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. God the Spirit, God the Father, God the Son. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 1. God the Spirit, God the Father, God the Son. 1 plus 1 plus
good robots today, boys and girls. We are so glad that you got to sing with us. And coming up now, we have our lesson with Miss Amy. Have a good day.
Hello, chickadees. Good to see you guys again. Today we are going to continue our lesson in Ezra. We will be in chapters 4 through 6, and this will be about how the temple was finally rebuilt and the obstacles that came. While I tell this story, think about how we can boldly obey God. So, the Persian king Cyrus issued an order allowing the Jews to return home and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. After returning to their homeland, the people began building the temple. So, as you remember from last week, they were sent by King Cyrus, who said they must go rebuild, and he gave them orders and taxes for them to build the thing. And when we finished our lesson last week, they did build the foundation, and they were singing and praising for joy. While some were weeping, they were mostly praising. I hope you guys had your shakers and were thinking of ways to praise your Lord too. So after returning to their homeland, they began building the temple, but then some of their neighbors did not want the temple to be rebuilt. They created trouble for the Jews, so the people stopped building. Years went by, and Darius became the new ruler in Persia. God sent prophets to tell the Jews to finish building the temple. The people obeyed and began to build the temple again. Again, the Jewish people faced the troublemakers. The governor of the region and some others asked the Jewish people, "Who told you that you can finish building this temple?" The Israelites knew King Cyrus had said they could rebuild the temple, and God was with his people. This time, the Jewish leaders did not listen to the troublemakers. The troublemakers agreed that the Jews could continue building the temple while a letter was sent to King Darius. Now, King Darius ordered that the library be searched. Yes, they had libraries even back then, and they had their scrolls. And a scroll was eventually found that recorded King Cyrus's decision to allow the Jewish people to return home and rebuild the temple. Darius sent word to the governor that the Jews can continue the work on the temple. And then finally the new temple was completed. The Israelites celebrated Passover in their new place of worship. So let's recap that a little bit. So what happened is they built the foundation and they continued building, and these neighbors around them were not being nice. They were threatening them probably. We don't know what kind of violence they had, and the people of Jerusalem were scared. So they stopped building because they were scared. So, and then God sent prophets in to say, "Hey, God has spoken. Rebuild this temple. You can do it. You can do it." And he encouraged them to rebuild. And the people listened to God and not the neighbors. And then King Darius found the documents and ordered safety for them to rebuild their temple. And when they finished, the first holiday they celebrated together was the Passover. My favorite thing to think about with this story is no one can stop God's plan. So God had a plan that this temple was going to be rebuilt. Neighbors stopped them. The people were afraid. God sent other people. The governor had to go talk to the king. The king found these documents and this scroll that said that they can do it. So no one can ever stop God's plans. Last week, we talked about that God always keeps his promises. This week, Our text truth is that we can boldly obey God. The time it took to finish the temple was about 21 years. So, for your art challenge today, I don't have a craft, but I would like you to build a temple for me. You can build it out of Legos. You can build it out of blocks. You can use marshmallows and toothpicks, stick them together and build it. You can make it out of a deck of cards. Any way you would like. I would love to see some pictures of your temples if you could. So, our memory verse today is Psalm 27:4. One thing have I asked of the Lord that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. I'm going to see if I can get that for you. There you go. Now let's have you guys read it out loud. Great reading, guys. Psalm 27:4. Now, I know that some of you have received some books, our Explore the Bible workbooks. If you have not, you can talk to Miss Cheyenne. We do have extras. So I would love for you guys to do the workbooks. We are on page 6 and 7 this week. The temple was rebuilt. On page 6, there's some great information in there about the building of the temple and a little bit about the history of libraries. That they actually had libraries long ago, and they were filled with the scrolls, and people could go and find out information through the libraries. On page 7, we have some Ezra facts. Facts about Ezra, the 15th book in the Bible. It comes before Second Chronicles, and it comes after Second Chronicles, and after Ezra is Nehemiah. And Ezra has 10 chapters in the book. Now, if you want to finish the rest of the Ezra facts, I'd love for you to fill them out. Look in your Bible and see if you can find the answers. At the bottom of page 7, we're going to go through this together. So our choices are Tattenai, which was the governor, the prophets, King Cyrus, King Darius, and the Jewish people. So we're going to look at our first one, and it says, I issued an order that the Jews should return home. Which one do you think that was? That was from last week's learning. Who was the king? King Cyrus. Next one. We returned home and started to rebuild the temple, but we stopped before it was finished. Who returned home to build the temple? That would be the Jewish people. I ordered my library be searched to find out if Cyrus had told the Jews that they could rebuild their temple. So remember, when the governor sent a message to King Darius, he wasn't sure what to do, so he looked in the library. So it was King Darius. Next one, we finished the temple and celebrated the Passover. Who built the temple? And who celebrated Passover right afterwards? The Jewish people. Another one, I am a troublemaker who tried to get the people to stop working on the temple. One of those troublemakers not only was it neighboring cities, but it was also the governor of the region. His name was Tattenai. Next one, we were sent by God to tell the Israelites to finish building the temple. So remember, the building stopped because the people were scared of the neighbors. So who were the ones sent by God? The prophets. Last one, we began to rebuild the temple again. So who listened to the prophets and boldly obeyed God? That would be the Jewish people. So like I said, if you don't have a book yet, please try to get one at Contact Ages Lake or Miss Cheyenne, and we'll make sure we get you some books because we're going to start going through these each week with you so you can have them as well. So for right now, I'm going to say goodbye. I want to see your buildings. I love seeing your crafts, so please send me or Gages Lake pictures so I can see how you have built a temple. Bye.